All right, let's take a look at question number 1. We're going to look at simplified radicals because my radicals is squared. Make sure you know your perfect squares. And with that, I mean like the square root of 4, because we know that's equal to 2. The square root of 9, because we know that's equal to 3. Square root of 16, because we know that's equal to 4. And on. We make sure you're dealing with perfect squares. If by any chance I was dealing with cubes, make sure you know the perfect cubes. And with that, I mean like the cube root of 8, because we know that's equal to 2. The cube root of 27, because that's equal to 3. If you're dealing with perfect cubes. In this case, we're dealing with squares. So what I'm going to do, I have my 4 on the outside. I'm not going to mess with it. My 288, my numbers, I'm going to split it into two radicals. One of them must be a perfect square. So I'm going to break this as 144 times 2. I'm looking at two numbers that multiplied equals 288. One of my radicals being a perfect square. And then on the letters, I have x to the 4th and y to the 1. Now, numbers wise, 144, the square root of that is 12. So that becomes a whole number. Multiply your whole numbers. 4 times 12, that gives us 48. And then we have a radical 2. Now, when it comes to letters, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide exponent divided by root. I'm going to divide, and if I have any remainders, I'm going to put them inside the radical. So square roots, the root is 2. So when it comes to the x, remember going exponent divided by root. 4 divided by 2, it gives me x to the 2nd. That's what I'm going to write on the outside. There's no remainders, so nothing inside the radical. When it comes to y, technically I have a 1. 1 divided by 2, right? 2 is bigger, so nothing goes into, 2 doesn't go into 1. But I have a remainder of 1. So that's my answer. Let's take a look at question number 2. I'm going to be thinking of my 3 on the outside. Now, square root of 48, I'm going to break that into two radicals, 16 times 3. Letter-wise, I'm just going to leave it at x, y to the 3rd. I'll deal with those later. So square root of 16 becomes 4. Multiply your whole numbers. So I have 12 and then radical 3. When it comes to letters, technically I have a 1. My root is 2. All right, my exponent it's smaller. So nothing can come out. So I have x to the 1 on the inside. Now my root on the comes in y, 3 divided by 2. If I was to do 3 goes into 2, 3 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 one time, so I have y to the 1. My remainder is 1, so I have y to the 1 on the inside. Real quick, as an example, let's say I had the cube root. I'm going to deal with something with cube roots of x to the 17th. I think, 17 divided by 3. How many times does 3 go into 17? It goes 5 times, because 5 times 3 is 15. And my leftover, x to the 2. 17 divided by 3 is 5 with 2 leftovers. My remainder goes inside. So that's what I get for question number 2. This right here was just to go over how to simplify radicals with letters.